This video is for anyone thinking of trying out large format photography. Over the next 5 minutes, I'll give you the basics, everything you need to know to use one of these old-fashioned cameras, and I'll give you some extra tips and tricks along the way. Hi, I'm Ollie and welcome back to Ollietography. Now, large format, 5x4, 10:8, even bigger, can seem quite daunting in the beginning, but it's actually quite straightforward. So follow the steps I'm about to give you and I'll show you how to use one of these old cameras in no time. Here we have a Linoff Technica and a Westerfield camera. Like all cameras, the film goes at the back and the lens goes at the front. Between them is a bellows, which form a light tight tunnel between the lens and the film. The bellows expands and contracts to allow the camera to focus by moving the lens closer or further away from the film plane. To open the camera, push down the large knob at the front. This will allow you to open the main door. With the main door open, simultaneously compress the two tabs on the right hand side of the rail and push the rail back towards the rail that holds the lens. With the rails together, push the two tabs underneath the lens inwards. You will now be able to pull the lens forwards to its main stops. With the lens against its stops, press the two tabs down again and line the two rails up. You can now wind the lens forwards to find your focus. So to focus the camera, the first thing you have to do is set the lens to the open position. How you do this will vary slightly from lens to lens, so if your lens looks different to mine, don't worry. So the procedure to open up the lens is to cock the shutter. You do this with the large knob, which is usually about 1 o'clock, looking at the lens straight on. You'll know it's the right one because it's the only one that's sprung. Slightly to the right of the shutter cock, you will either get a lever or a nubbin where the lever's broken off or something like that. You can usually compress this or push it down and you'll see the iris blades open. The last thing you need to do is to open up the iris because there's no point in trying to look through the back of the camera at f/22. So when you're actually looking through it, the first thing that you'll notice is that the image is upside down. This is quite confusing at first, but you get over it pretty quickly. The next thing you'll notice is that the camera's a little bit like a gun sight. If you're not looking directly through it and you're looking to one side, it'll vignette quite badly, so you really need to be looking straight through it. To actually wind the lens back and forth in order to get your focus, there are two wheels at the front of the camera, one on the left and one on the right. You simply turn them and the lens will move back and forth and you'll get your focus. Loading the film is pretty straightforward. In a darkroom or a changing bag, while being careful not to kink the film as you hold it, feel for the notch mark and hold that between your thumb and forefinger. Once you have that, slide the film into the dark slide underneath the rails so as to make sure that the notch mark ends up on the bottom right. This ensures that the film is loaded emulsion side out. Make sure to double check that the film is underneath the rails, close the end of the dark slide and put the main slide back in. It sounds simple enough, but if you're not careful about making sure the film is under the rails, it could find its way out of the dark slide whilst you're shooting. No, it failed.
On the top of a dark slide, one side is white and the other side is black. This is a visual reference to let you know whether the film's exposed or not. But I tend to say that light is white, so when a negative has been exposed, it should be white side out, and when the negative is unexposed, it should be black side out. However you do it, make sure before you put your dark slides in the changing bag that you have the correct side facing out, otherwise you could find yourself very confused on set. Taking the picture. Once you have the focus, the film loaded and you're ready to shoot, to take the picture you need to follow a sequence. This is the order I try to stick to. First, close down the lens, either by moving the lever back to its closed position or by pressing the shutter on some lenses. Second, set the desired f-stop and shutter speed. Third, prep the shutter spring. Fourth, place the dark slide in the slot underneath the ground glass. Fifth, double check that the shutter is closed and no light can get to the film, then pull the slide out of the dark slide completely. Sixth, you can now press the shutter. Seventh, replace the slide into the dark slide, white side out because white means light, and then pull the entire slide out of the camera. You're now ready to shoot your next picture. On these cameras, you don't rotate the camera to move between landscape and portrait, but rather rotate the film holder. On the Wister, you remove the two brass locks at the top and remove the film back completely to reorientate it. And on the Linoff, you press the two tabs on either side and rotate the film back. And there you have all the things you need to know in order to get started with large format photography. In another video, I will describe the more advanced options you have available with these cameras, such as tilt shift and bellows extension. Until then, if you find this information useful, drop me a like and I'll see you in the next few weeks with another video.